What's going on, beautiful people? It is I, your flying locomotive and faster than a speeding bullet SuperCliff, coming at you live with a brand new video. And for today's majestic and fantastic video, we are continuing with Mark Waid's fantastic take on DC's World's Finest with Batman Superman World's Finest, issue number 14. But before we continue forward, if you are new to the channel, then smash that like and subscribe button. That way you guys never miss out on anything that happens on this majestic channel. So what are you waiting for? Let's raise the bar and go full on Super Saiyan. Hit that subscribe button. Thus, without further ado, let's have ourselves another team up session between Batman Superman World's Finest, issue number 14. Alrighty folks, so our story picks up in Los Angeles, California with Dr. Dread. Now we see the bad doctor backing away from an enraged Metamorpho, who engulfs him in acetic gas, melting away his weapons. Rex Mason, as he puts it, is tired of being the victim and is done playing nice with his enemies. Thus, he is taking them out one by one, starting out with Dr. Dread. Later on, we pick up with Superman at the Fortress of Solitude, who's currently on the call with Batman. Now, Bruce is still holding a grudge against Clark, mainly due to the fact that the Daily Planet's expose, of which Clark published alongside Jimmy Olsen, it resulted in Bruce Wayne getting arrested as the prime suspect for the murder of Simon Stagg. With Clark knowing Bruce's anger with him and Jimmy, he tries to defend himself by making the case that, as reporters, they were at the mercy of their sources. Basically, we're just doing our jobs. And the fact that Bruce Wayne, on a business side of things, had a lot to gain from Stagg's death was just an unfortunate coincidence. Unfortunately, because of this though, everyone's eyes are now locked hard on Bruce Wayne. Therefore, he can't risk further suspicion and be seen vanishing at night to work as Batman. Thus, the world's greatest detective, for right now, is off the board. With Batman still suspecting Rex Mason, aka Metamorpho, as the real killer, Clark is still doubtful. Bruce then lets him know that they still need to locate Metamorpho in order to clear him, which would be so much easier if Superman had a detective like himself as a partner. But the man has still already found a detective, that being Robin. Picking up with Alfred, who's letting Wayne know that Oliver Queen is on the line for him, Bruce joins in on what he thought would be a private meeting, only to find out that they're joined by legal attorneys on the call. Oliver makes it clear that he doesn't care about Bruce's recent arrest, and the lawyers are only there to make sure that he doesn't overpay him, because it turns out that Oliver wants to finance Wayne Tech with one of their AI projects that they are currently working on. Now this strikes Bruce as odd because he remembers Oliver always refusing to trust any machine that's smarter than a human. Basically, Oliver is like the Mandalorian. He hates machines. Oliver explains that he's come around to the realization that Queen Industries can't afford to be afraid of the future, and so he's willing to put a substantial offer on the table to buy into Wayne Tech's projects. But Bruce is able to buy himself some time to think, thereby letting Oliver know that he'll get back to him as soon as he can. Picking up with Superman flying over the globe in search of Metamorpho with Robin on his back, Dick discovers that Mason's fiancée hasn't heard from him in a while, which leads Dick theorizing that if Mason thinks Bruce Wayne killed Stagg and is trying to set him up, he assumed a billionaire like Bruce would have hired someone to pull the trigger, specifically someone with a personal grudge against Mason. With Dick referencing Batman's list of Metamorpho's rogues with their last known whereabouts, he's able to find out that after beating up Dr. Dread in Southern California, Mason went south and hunted Stingray in Nicaragua. Therefore, Robin predicts that his next destination would be in East Venezuela. And would you look at that? Turns out Robin was right, because it's here where we see Metamorpho fighting El Monteo's robot army. And it's here where Superman shows up to help out Mason. And while Robin detains the villain, Mason makes it clear to everyone that he was just trying to scare El Monteos for information, because he needs to know which one of his enemies Bruce Wayne paid to do him dirty. Now, Clark debunks the theory and flies Mason out of there, letting him know that this mission, this need to solve the case, it can wait given that Sapphire needs him right now because of Stagg's funeral on the morrow. While Bruce is getting into contact with his fellow billionaires, people like Ted Cord and Lauren Jupiter, elsewhere Clark is attending Stagg's funeral as a journalist for the Daily Planet, writing about how the proceedings are only attended by Stagg's daughter, Sapphire, his associate Rex Mason, and his prehistoric manservant, or big dumb idiot, Java. Now during this, Clark gets a call from Bruce, who lets him know about the meeting he just had with Ollie, and how he sounded strange, not because he kept calling him Wayne or, instead of Brucey Boy, but the fact that, a human rights activist like Oliver Queen is something interested in artificial intelligence. It's kind of weird. With Bruce asking Clark to do a long-distance X-ray scan to see if they're dealing with imposters, that's when Clark reveals that ever since he got to Stagg's funeral, his super spell noticed that Stagg's corpse didn't smell like a preserved human body should. Clark realizes that the corpse inside Stagg's coffin is an android duplicate, which means that Stagg's probably alive. So the good news is that, they can prove his theory. They can get Bruce Wayne off the law's hook. But the bad news is that someone's kidnapping billionaires and replacing them with android puppets. With the world's finest heroes meeting with Metamorpho at the rooftop of the dated planet, Batman lets them know that he's dug into the financial records of the missing billionaires and noticed enormous sums of money being transferred to an offshore account owned by Professor Anthony Ivo, who is most known for being the creator of the Amazo. But Ivo's androids were never able to surpass for an actual human, thus meaning one thing. Ivo's upped his game by drafting a particular accomplice, whether by will or by force. And so with that, Batman orders both Superman and Robin to go after Ivo, while the Dark Knight and the Element Man try to locate Dr. Will Magnus. And thus we see Superman and Robin busting into Ivo's lab in the mountains. Here, Robin is getting spooked by the slew of androids hanging from the ceiling, and it's like a horror movie, including a half-finished Bruce Wayne that Superman theorizes that was probably abandoned after the real Bruce became a murder suspect. Now, of course, in creepy fashion, this is all confirmed by Ivo himself, while speaking via his androids, which in turn come alive and begin to surround Superman and Robin. With the Man of Steel making clear to the baddies that his puppets are no match for him, the villain tells our hero that the androids are actually there to kill Robin. Picking up with Batman Metamorpho flying to Magnus Robotics HQ, which is located in upstate New York, Bruce admits to Mason that his suspicions about him being the killer were misguided, and like a good friend, Mason accepts his apology. With Batman believing Will Magnus be Ivo's accomplice, since Magnus is a next-level genius and his invention of the Respironator meter, a microcomputer capable of animating constructs and transforming them into sentient, free-thinking humanoids, is the only technology known to Bruce that can, create androids like the ones that Ivo's currently using. It turns out they actually find that Magnus is missing from his lab, with apparent signs of a struggle, which suggests that he was kidnapped. However, what Batman doesn't understand is why Magnus Metal Man, a team of robots that Magnus created by using the Respond meter, didn't protect him. But that's when the Dark Knight finds the Metal Man, who are melted in molten lava, trapped in a fiery cauldron, begging for help. Picking up with Ivo's androids ganging up on Robin, Dick asks for Superman's help, but Ivo lets him know that Supes is preoccupied in a kryptonite-induced trance, as the villain explains that because he wanted to properly frame Rex Mason for murder, he needs to build something that could replicate Metamorpho's abilities. But Ivo didn't want to stop there. Ivo wanted to control a creation that could command any element on the periodic table, including kryptonite. And it's here where we see Ivo's new composite android ambush the Man of Steel, holding Superman by the throat with its arm, made of kryptonite. Woo. And that, folks, was the end of Batman Superman, World's Finest, issue number 14. And thank you guys for checking out my video, as it truly means the world to me. This series continues to be amazing. What's so great about this series is the fact that this is just being a straight up superhero book, one which feels like it's from the 60s. I don't know if any of you folks have ever read the original Amazing Spider-Man issues, at least, the first 20. Peter's in high school and everything about it, the way he dresses, the way people talk with each other. It's definitely a comic book that is clearly in the makings of that time. Well, Mark Waid carries that same feeling with The World's Finest. However, he writes 60s-esque stories through a modern lens, and everything about it just feels organic and fresh. And because of it, it's so fun. There's no hidden message that's on the nose or like anything like that. It's not like you're reading a Brian Azzarello story where everything in it, has like a deep and philosophical meaning, diverting expectations. Honestly, this book feels like the Batman animated series combined with the Superman animated series. And if that doesn't, sell you, then I have no idea what can. So yeah, overall great stuff, and definitely check out this book if you haven't. It's literally the best thing that DC's coming out with. But yeah, as always, I'm your majestic sayer of words, SuperCliff. And if you guys are new to the channel, then do me a solid by smashing that like and subscribe button, and also the notification bell so that you'll never miss out on an upload, and so that you'll always be kept up to date with your favorite top tier comics happening in the comic book world. Now tell me, what are your thoughts and opinions on this issue? Are you guys excited for issue number 15? Let me know down in the comment section below. And until the next video, peace. Giggity goo.